Lyme disease and chronic fatigue syndrome. Now, in my research of Lyme disease, I've stumbled across a few common symptoms, ailments, secondary, ailments for us. And that's chronic fatigue syndrome is one of the main ones that I keep hearing. Many people who are diagnosed with Lyme disease also get diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome is like feeling tired, achy, complete lack of motivation, don't want to do anything. You feel like a couch potato every single day. You're very achy. That's CFS, or chronic fatigue syndrome. Physical exertion can make it even worse. So people with chronic fatigue syndrome just don't want to do anything. There's no motivation to do anything because they feel so poorly on the inside. Now, CFS can also come with other symptoms such as headache, chills, night sweats, things like that. They also have memory loss and lack of concentration or focus. So all these nasty symptoms are, closely related or very similar to that of Lyme disease. So often people get diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome first, and then they find out they have Lyme disease. Or they get diagnosed with Lyme disease first, and then they found out they have chronic fatigue syndrome as a symptom. Here's a little interesting study that they did. They took a group of people that reported stomach issues, right? Many of them had irritable bowel syndrome. And they took those people, and it turned out that 85% of them also could be diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. To me, that links together food, what we eat, and chronic fatigue syndrome quite closely, because if people with IBS, usually affected by what we eat, 85% of them had chronic fatigue syndrome. That shows that what we eat affects chronic fatigue. It affects our adrenal glands, our thyroid, parts of our body that create energy. And a lot of CFS is caused by adrenal fatigue and inflammation within the body. So it's important to fight this fatigue using foods that are anti-inflammatory and vitamins and minerals that can get rid of adrenal fatigue. My favorite article on this topic is on Dr. Josh Axe's website, where he lists 4 things that you can do to get better from CFS, chronic fatigue syndrome. And I just want to share some of those with you right now. But the first thing you should do if you have chronic fatigue syndrome is to eliminate food sensitivities and allergens, right? Common ones tend to be gluten, dairy, casein, which is protein in dairy. These certain proteins that people tend to have food sensitivities to boost inflammation in the body, which causes more chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms. And inflammation is probably the number one thing you want to look out for when it comes to Lyme disease and chronic fatigue syndrome, and diet, because it's something that we can easily control using our diet. And inflammation causes so many problems with disease, the spread of the disease, the thriving of the disease within the body. So it's really important to try to tackle that inflammatory response that's been affected by the Lyme disease since the very beginning. So, he recommends that you avoid gluten, avoid casein. If you've never tried cutting gluten out of your diet, it might be a very good idea just to give it a try. See how you feel. Your inflammatory response will go way down, and hopefully your CFS symptoms will go away a little bit, or at least ease off. Casein is found in dairy products, and if you are allergic or sensitive to casein, your body actually produces antibodies to fight against the protein. Now, this causes a terrible allergic reaction, which causes swelling, wheezing, and congestion. So you'll know if you're allergic to casein. However, dairy products tend to cause inflammation in a lot of people, and people with CFS might want to try to avoid dairy. The number 2 thing you can do to help with your CFS is to increase your vitamin B intake. Now, vitamin B is extremely important, and recently science has linked vitamin B deficiency directly to chronic fatigue syndrome. So vitamin B6 helps to prevent and relieve fatigue. It also boosts the immune system, which obviously makes it a really good choice. Many doctors believe that CFS is caused by other infections within the body, perhaps Lyme disease, and it's important to keep your immune system up to try to fight those infections, which could be leading to the CFS. So vitamin B6 can help you fight off disease and keep your energy levels up. Vitamin B12 is a necessary vitamin that's part of the methylation process. Methylation is the process where methyl compounds are used in various parts of the body. It helps you process toxins, create hormones, and create very positive neurotransmitters. It's estimated that nearly 40% of Americans have a vitamin B12 deficiency. It causes symptoms such as low energy, lack of motivation, fatigue, tiredness, just wanting to sit there and do nothing. So supplementing with vitamin B12 can increase your energy, reduce depression, and get you off the couch. It kind of lightens up your life again. I've personally started taking B complex vitamins, and I have found more energy, more focus, more awareness. My brain seems to be functioning better. I seem to be more alive in the morning. So it's something to consider, especially if you have chronic fatigue syndrome. Number 3 is to increase potassium and magnesium levels. See, patients with chronic fatigue syndrome tend to have low magnesium, as well as patients of Lyme disease. With Lyme disease, the bacteria actually eats off the magnesium that's within the body. I created another video about that before. In one study, patients started supplementing with magnesium, reported lower stress, a better emotional state, more energy, and improved focus. So magnesium can be extremely powerful for people with chronic fatigue syndrome, and potassium is right up there with magnesium. It's just one of those important minerals that we need within our body. And it can be met through food quite easily with bananas, avocados, things like that. I have a full list of that on my website, lifenutrition.com. It's estimated that nearly 80% of Americans are magnesium deficient. See, magnesium, potassium, and calcium are all extremely important minerals, as is sodium. But it turns out that the American diet glorifies sodium and makes it more important, puts more sodium in the food than there is magnesium, potassium, and calcium. And this leads to heart disease throughout America, high blood pressure, and a ton of other problems. So keeping that sodium down to a normal level and boosting up the magnesium and the potassium that many people are lacking can give you way more energy and results when it comes to staying focused, staying energized, and feeling alive. Now, potassium helps the body balance its electrolytes, which is extremely important when it comes to energy. There are a ton of potassium-rich foods that you could seek, or you could try to supplement potassium. Potassium deficiency leads to fatigue, irritability, and muscle cramps. When you're deficient on these things, you're gonna feel fatigue, lack of energy, complete loss of motivation. So getting these important minerals back into your diet some way, somehow, either by supplementing or by adding more of the fruits and vegetables that have the important minerals in there, like magnesium and potassium, is extremely important. And it can honestly fix your CFS. You'd be surprised at what a couple B vitamins and some minerals will do to boost you back up to the energy levels that you need and that you've been looking for. Around the same time I started using B vitamins in the morning, I started taking magnesium at night, knowing that Lyme disease bacteria eats magnesium. What I found is I have way more energy, way more focused. I wake up in the morning thriving, ready to go, ready to tackle the day. Now, I had Lyme disease, so before that I was tired all the time. I could take a nap any time of day. I would wake up, feel groggy, not really want to do anything, and then it would slowly get a little bit better throughout the day, and then it would drop off again. I would feel extremely tired. Since I started taking magnesium, taking some B vitamins, I've seen very increased energy levels. Like, I'm extremely surprised that these simple vitamins and minerals can boost the body's potential to create energy the way that it has. And I would, honestly recommend it to a lot more people than just people with CFS. But if you're complaining about chronic fatigue syndrome, then it's important that you look for those vitamins and minerals. Vitamin B complex and magnesium and potassium are the most important part of this whole thing, because I think that alone could help tremendously with chronic fatigue. And the final thing that you can do, number 4, is to get some peace and rest. And that might seem obvious, or maybe you overlooked it, but part of, having chronic fatigue syndrome is trying to get rest, trying to sleep it off, lay down, go on vacation. I mean, I know what it's like. I own a business, I have children, I have a wife. Things can get crazy sometimes. Sometimes we just need a break. So the number 4 thing to do to treat chronic fatigue is build peace and rest for yourself as often as possible, or go on vacation, go spend some time off. Go let the body heal itself from rest and peace and quiet. Hey guys, it's Ryan Kearns. Thanks for watching that video, and I hope you pulled something from it and got value from it. I just wanted to let you know that I recently wrote an ebook that details my story of my battle with Lyme disease and how I healed myself with diet, herbs, and healthy conscious living. It's called Lyme Wars: How I Counterattacked Lyme with Nutrition, Herbs, and Healthy Conscious Living. If you're interested, it's actually completely free for the time being, and you can click on the link below or go to lifenutrition.com to get your free copy. If you like what you saw in this video, push subscribe below. And thanks so much for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.